back. Cardinals legend Patrick Peterson joining us right now on the Arizona Sports Line. Unfortunately, to talk about another close Cardinals loss. This feels like Groundhog Day.
No.
Oh, man.
What's going on, Patrick?
Pat P.
How you guys doing today?
Man, I'm doing
Doing
okay.
good.
Where do we find you today, Pat P?
I'm actually heading home from the airport, so no golf course. It's a little cold right now, so it won't be no golf talk for a while.
Okay, how was your Thanksgiving, my brother?
My Thanksgiving was great. Had the opportunity to smoke a turkey. Shout out to my boy Chad, the athletic trainer from the Cardinals. He used to always do one for me every year, so I kind of stole his recipe and started as a family tradition of my own. So I smoked the turkey, had my siblings in town, my nephews. So I had an awesome Thanksgiving. How was you guys' Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great,
great.
man. It's
That's
just
cool,
a
though.
small family gathering. It was wonderful, man. Beautiful. Thanks for joining us today, big guy.
That's the way to do it, too. You just pick up
Anytime.
something like that, the smoked turkey,
Oh,
and all of a
yeah.
sudden that's a new tradition.
Smoke it.
Try that next year. All right, Pat. Well, you know, this season's been weird, man. This is seven losses by 4 points or less, 0-7 in those games.
Oh, my goodness.
I feel like we've seen things this year that you never see. Losing a game where you're, about to defeat Tennessee in Week 5, or a game where you're +4 in turnover margin, and now this. Like, what do you make of that result again on Sunday?
Man, it's just tough to continue to watch. And I know it's tough for the guys to continue to go through it. And at the end of the day, if the head coach and the staff is going to be there next year, these some of the things that they're going to have to do some deep diving into, as far as film studying and understanding what were some of the things that hindered us from being successful in moments. Because, Wolf, you played in the game. I played in the game for a long time. It's how special are you in certain moments of the game, and are you at your best in critical moments and situational downs? And right now, the Cardinals are not good in those moments. So they have to find a way to, if it's putting together a practice schedule, if it's just continuing showing film on how to finish games, how to close out games, or whatever the case may be, the attention to details on that definitely needs to be heightened.
So, obviously you were a leader inside the locker room, Pat P. When you look at this, what would you be telling these guys that are in the locker room that have suffered 7 losses by 4 points or less? What would the conversation be? What would you want them to focus on the rest of the season?
Honestly, for me, I've been in, situations like this before. We won the first 4 games of the season and went on a 7-game loser streak. So I had an opportunity to be in the locker room actually going through these moments. And my biggest message to the guys was, obviously we can't do nothing about yesterday, but what are we going to do about tomorrow? So that's going to work, coming to work each and every day, preparing for victory and seeing what we can do better than what we did last week to propel us to victory. And how do we build on that? Because at the end of the day, man, like I said a couple of weeks ago, you're still playing for something. You're still playing for the name on your back. You're still playing for maybe another opportunity. So you don't want to let this opportunity, go by the wayside to where now you're not giving yourself the best shot, for the next team or for yourself. So at the end of the day, when you go out there or you're playing this game at the highest level at that, you're playing the highest level of football, you want to always go out there and put your best foot forward, regardless of what the situation is.
That's right.
My thing is, no matter what happened yesterday, what are we going to do about tomorrow?
We're talking to Patrick Peterson. Patrick, you watch these games, and these guys clearly are still fighting. I mean, again, they had a chance to win on Sunday in Tampa, and Tampa had to have that game, and the Cardinals were right there. I know a lot of fans see that like, okay, big deal, they're still losing. But, I mean, from your perspective as a player in this league, what is that showing you that they have not really let up in any of these games? They're just not finding ways to finish them, obviously.
Yeah, that's always a positive, that the guys are still going out there, giving it their all, because, that's one of the things that you always want to see as well when you have nothing else to play for, are the guys still, giving their 110%, and that they have been, but it's just a story that it has been all years, is about finishing out games when you have the opportunity to win. winning on third down on third downs on offense and defense. I believe on the offense they was 5 for 16 if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? So that's not winning football. In the red zone they was pretty good. It was 2 for 2. But they wasn't able to run the football, as efficiently to help them to be able to sustain drives and take some clock off the ball. So for the most part, they're doing a lot of good things to win games. They're just not doing enough to win them. So a quote Bruce Arians used to always say, man, we can't continue to find ways to lose. And that's what the Arizona Cardinals are doing right now. They're finding ways to lose versus finding ways to win.
So, Pat P., when you look at Jacoby Brissett and you watch him play in this game specifically, and then juxtapose that to what you've seen from him right now, what are your thoughts on Jacoby Brissett?
Man, he's been playing a really decent game. Obviously, I know he has a couple of turnovers that he wish he can have back. But as far as, controlling the offense and being able to put the ball in the right pass catcher's hands, as far as orchestrating the offense and having a control of it, he has that. You know what I mean? And I don't know how many 300-yard games he had this year, but it's definitely more than 3. That's something that's also something that you're not seeing a customer seeing around the league.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we know that he's obviously having to pass a lot because, they're having to come from behind or they're down or the running game is not where they want it to be. But his numbers are definitely speaking for themselves as far as the performances that he's been able to put out passing the ball. So I like what he has been putting on film. I think he's doing enough if he's not with the Cardinals to find himself another job with someone else. And I don't know if it'll be a starter, but for the most part, what he's doing right now, he's making the most of his opportunity.
Talking to Patrick Peterson. Patrick, I know we've talked about Trey McBride in the past, but, from your perspective, why is he such a matchup nightmare? I mean, there's other big tight ends out there, but they're not putting up the numbers he's putting up.
The speed, the size, the physicality, the route running ability. He's able to create separations from anyone, safeties as well as linebackers. You know what I mean? So when you have those those attributes, it just makes you almost unguardable because you're not going to see a guy who's used to covering someone that's able to move like that. So anytime you see an athletic tight end that's able to move and that's interchangeable, that can go outside, you can move him at the slot, and then he can come down and block as well. Those guys are almost unguardable, man. So the Cardinals got a good one for sure in Trey. His future is very, very bright. I can't wait to see, how it's going to end up. But he's definitely creating a household name for himself.
Speaking of bright futures, give us your Will Johnson update and what you're seeing from this rookie.
Yeah, Will is going to be the real deal as well, man. Will is just going to have to. I know it's been a kind of an up and down year for him as far as staying on the field, as far as health-wise. And that's going to be just one of the things that he's going to have to pay close attention to in the offseason. What are some of the things he's going to have to do to make sure that he's available? Because, we know when he's on the field, he's unbelievable. He's going to make plays. He's going to be on the team's number one receiver. But when he's not there, it's a glaring loss.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to have to do a good job this offseason of making sure he understands what his regimen is going to be as far as going into the season, going into year 2, because we need him on the field, quite frankly. Coach Kevin Ross used to always tell us, I know he's going to always make the team, but you can't make the club in the tub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're one of those 5-star players, man, we need you on the field at all times. But as far as when he's out there, man, I love everything that I see from him as far as his physicality, as far as his ball skills, as far as attention to detail. You can tell that he's a guy who studies the game, who loves the game, and going to give every sweat and ounce of blood that he can to be his best. So it's good to see Will on the trajectory that he's on. The only knock I probably would say, and I know it's nothing that he can deal with, but just making sure that he's available for the team.
Can't make the club in the tub is great. That's
Nice.
great. Patrick, great. Always good to talk to you, man. Thank
Pat
you.
P., thank you, buddy.
All right, Luke. All right, well, guys, take care.
All right,
Okay,
you too.
man.
That's Patrick Peterson joining us right there on the Arizona Sports Line.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.